Yo, what's up, everybody? How's it going? So, hello. I am SolarLune. I am an independent game developer by hobby, and yeah, this is my stream. So, how's everybody doing today? And yeah. So today, I figured it would be good to go ahead and try to do some more game dev stuff with Golang. And I don't know if you follow my Twitter or my Discord server, and my Discord server, you can find that in the description. Twitter link can be found on my YouTube profile. But if you follow that, you see that I basically started another project that uses SDL with Go because of the input error issues I was mentioning previously. Basically, Raylib and Ebiton in Golang both use GFLW as the backend for graphics and for input, and that does not play nice with the version of Linux I have. It doesn't really work that well, as far as I can tell. There's some like missing inputs and stuff sometimes. It's kind of weird. It's not a huge deal, but it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of annoying. So I started working on something else that uses SDL to try to get used to it, and also I looked into using SDL, or rather doing something with physics. So I'll show you what I have so far. So I have basically a pretty good looking prototype essentially. You have the ability to have animations. I have the ability to move around. Really solid arcade platforming physics, like extremely just rock solid. Always the same jump height, always the same jump time. I've got coyote jumps in there, and overall it took me a while to get like everything working correctly, but it actually is really simple in terms of the execution, like the way that everything works. Really solid. So I'll show you basically how I did this these physics, I guess you could say, this physics system, I guess is the right word. And I also have tiled map importing, which is cool. So I can, for example, come over here to tiled and then be like, oh, I want to, whatever, do whatever. And yeah, there we go. So that's cool. Yeah. So this time around, it went a lot faster with Go with tiled importing. This time around, it was super much faster just because I'd done it before, so I was used to it. So that's really what you're doing when you make games and how you get better and faster and stuff. You just gotta you just have to do stuff a lot. Let me get some music going. Hold on. I think that probably should be good. Let me know if I'm too quiet. There we go. Yeah, I might make it. Yeah, I guess that's okay. So basically, yeah. Overall, this is what I have so far. It's a completely functional game beginning, basically. F1 is a key that allows you to view debug. Basically, the debug, game, which is cool. That way, you can see like where the collision boxes are, how they slide around, move around, and stuff. And it works really well. It's very solid. And I'll show you basically a little bit about how it works. Let's see. Kroby says, "Is that GameMaker Studio?" Nope. It is SDL and Golang. Mariano Sulugoy says, "Is this C++ or Golang?" Yeah, it's Golang. I haven't heard of Golang and C++ SDL before. Yeah, there's an SDL port for. I'm sorry, a Golang port for SDL. And overall, it's not that complex. You have a couple of basically a couple of packages inside the SDL2 repository here. That links up with the, basically these are bindings and you have to download SDL2. SDL2 is in my package repositories here, on Solus OS. So it's easy to just download the necessary bits, and then you can go ahead and just start using it by importing it and using it. So we have init frame rate, set frame rate, that basically, this is basically a helper class that comes with SDL2 that allows you to like do frame rate stuff, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to it wouldn't have a fixed frame rate. Yeah, now it's like 1,000 frames a second or something. And yeah, it's basically unplayable. But this nice little FPS manager comes with SDL2, and it's a nice little thing. Let's see. Kroby says, SolarLune, what is the app again, please? I'm not sure what you mean what the app is. This is Visual Studio Code that I'm coding in. The language is Golang, and the framework is SDL2. I'm using a TMX loader for tiled maps, and I'm using my own physics system that I'm making, which is this code here, which is a couple hundred lines, not that much. And a lot of it's the same. I don't actually need all this stuff about points. I'm just using that just as an extra class. Yeah, this doesn't have to be there, but basically it's really rectangles. That's really what we're dealing with. And this is really the meat of it right here, is the resolve function and the is colliding function. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. Mariana says, what about the built game? Does the player need to have SDL installed on his computer? Nope, he should not have to have... No, wait, yeah, he would need to have SDL installed on his computer. So either I could include that with the executable, which is fine. That's what most games would do, is just include the executable, include the SDL stuff. The game itself is just short of 4 megabytes large, which is tiny. Yeah. So yeah, I really could just like include like the SDL.so files, or just say like you need SDL2. Alan Escalis says, I have a big book for learning C++. I just don't have a good PC to try and run it on. This isn't my PC I'm using. It can barely run Visual Studio. I do love messing around in Batch. Mariano says you can program C++ in a toaster. Yeah, I think that you probably would do well with, you might do well with Go, just because C++ takes a, well, I don't know, because I don't know how heavy a C++ compiler is. I don't think it should be that heavy, but if you're finding that that's a little too heavy for your computer, try Go, just because Go is pretty lightweight as far as I can see. Doesn't take too much time to build, but my computer is kind of beefy, on the beefier side of things, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Visual Studio is pretty. I think it's a little heavy. Marion says Qt Creator is great for C++. Yeah, I'm working with. I use Visual Studio Code, so that's not that heavy. This is pretty light. Atom can be heavier, but both of these are text editors and aren't full IDEs like, let's say Visual Studio, or like Code Blocks or something like that. Something a little more heavy. Let's see. There was someone who asked something. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. Let's see. Alan says, this is cool, dude. You're doing all the stuff I want to be doing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I should, I started with this process to basically go ahead and work with, to kind of like document as I make a game, and I was going to open source it, and I did open source it. This is just another project that I was doing to basically get a little more of a control over the physics side of things, because I tend to struggle with physics, and I'm not talking about realistic physics, I'm talking about, you know, just kind of like lightweight stuff like this. Not like realistic physics, just arcade physics. Yeah, so it's like, it's basically more of a focus on, that's kind of why I started this project, I guess you could say, is just kind of get a feel for doing physics more fully before I went back to the project that we were working on. So let's actually go back a little bit to see what the current state of this one is. Oh, that's right, okay. Okay. That's right. So that's why I switched, is because like you can see I'm pressing like right, left, and it's just like it's like pausing because the controls aren't really working right. That's why I switched over to that other project, because I didn't want to switch over to move everything over to STL and then not actually like be able to use it. So I might actually just move this entire game over to STL too, just make it a little easier. And the physics also. How was I doing the physics? How did I do this? I have a collision check function. Oh, I use intersecting rectangles like this. Okay, so I did kind of something similar with that, with the other project, but it's just a little less awkward, in my opinion, because this is like, I actually didn't like really go that much further with this than this. I haven't tested like jumping or anything like that, so no telling if that actually will work really well. But yeah, this input stuff it's like just enough to be annoying. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do something about that. Mariam Sulugoy says, Solar just a suggestion, don't be like me. Finish the project you start. No. Alan Hafskell says, yeah, you're not making a Kerbal Space Program, lol. Yeah, exactly. I don't need like fully realistic, super defined physics. And I actually did start on, like, I implemented, let me actually copy this so I have something. We'll just, I guess that'll work. I actually started with, yeah, using Box 2D, and I started with using Box 2D, but it didn't really work that well, because it was interesting, like when you, yeah, that's so weird, like when you, I have a coyote jump timer in this too, but when you jump off the edge, you jump so much higher than when you're not jumping off the edge. Like you jump like a full block higher, and I was like, why is that happening? I was like, well, maybe it's got something to do with the physics engine or something like that. And eventually I just didn't like the way that it was shaping up. It also doesn't really work too well with blocks that are like right next to each other. All the blocks in my example here are full blocks, full rectangles like that. But like if you walk across blocks like this, sometimes, yeah, like that, you'll just get stuck. And so the better approach to this, I think, would be to go ahead and use like a, what's the word? Like a cylinder to represent your character rather than a rectangle. But that's just so much more, like you're getting so much more in depth into this than you really need to. And that's why I was just like, you know what? This is stupid. It doesn't make sense to go through all this, it doesn't make sense to go through all this trouble just to, you know, make a game. Like just do it right, do it yourself. Do it yourself. And so that's why I came up with this thing, orb physics, which basically, yeah, way better. Way better. And I was thinking like, okay, well maybe it's just not that big of a deal to have blocks that are right next to each other. But then I'm like, well, what if you have like a situation where you're trying to walk from a floating platform onto ground? It's like, you know, that there's situations where you could easily trip up. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and like, you know, do it myself. And overall, it was really simple to do, not hard at all. Yeah, really easy. And so I made this. This is what this package with this Go file is, which is essentially just a means to determine if things are touching and to resolve collisions. So the idea of resolving collisions, let me pull up here, is basically to move objects back as necessary to push or pull them out of collisions. So I'll give an example like this. So like, let's say we have a wall here, right? So let's say we have a wall here, and the player is this green square here, right? So he's moving over to the right, and eventually, let's say on frame 1 he's here, on frame 2 he's here, on frame 3 he's here, right? So how do you, or something like that. So you basically frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. So he's moving to the right like that. And now how do you determine, you know, which, there we go. How do you determine which Okay, that's how do you determine like where to stop him? Well, that's resolution. So the way I'm doing it, it's really naive and really stupid. It's not efficient at all. But basically, I move the player forward and see if he's colliding. And if so, I just move him back until he's no longer colliding. That's it. So every frame is moving him forward and back if he collides. Forward and back, and it just says like, oh, is that a valid move? And that works. That's it. So I mean, like if you were doing like a racing game with 100 different objects or something like that, this isn't really a good approach. But if you're just making a platformer with a few objects per room, this would be fine. And it just feels really, really smooth, really blocky, really easy. It's made just for this system of axis aligned collision. So if you have something where, let's say, the blocks could rotate, or maybe a car or something like that, maybe you would want to use Box 2D or something more complex. But if you want it just like a very basic, collision system, this would work really well. Let's see. Mariano said you could just grab SDL input and keep the rendering for the other project, I'm assuming. Nah, I don't think so, because SDL probably needs control. I probably would need to create an SDL window to test for input. I'm guessing. I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like I would need to use SDL to create the window to go ahead and use it for the input, which means that I would have to... I'm not sure, but I feel like it might be better to just move over to SDL completely for the other project. Or maybe it would be better to just make a tutorial. That might be the better approach. That way I can have a little more control over what the game plays like, how it all works out, rather than saying, oh, well, let me do a stream where I'm working on it and open source it, and then come back later and find out, oh, well, that doesn't work. Although that's part of the game development process. So if you're making something, it doesn't work out, and then we have to make changes to it, that's part of the process. And so that's part of what needs to be streamed. Kroby says, is there any studio for mobile or tablet for making games? Do you mean like making games on the tablet, or making games for tablet? Like making games for mobile devices, or making games on mobile devices? Because I think there is one. Alan Escalis says, I am a beginner with pixel art. I found your channel 10 minutes ago because I was looking for some tutorials. Do you have a challenge for a beginner pixel art? How about a character like this? Like make a 20 by 20 character. It's up to you what to draw. It just has to be 20 by 20. Oh, and also I have pixel art tutorials on my channel if you're interested in checking those out. I go through some basics, but yeah. Let's see. Kroby says, challenge, I am actually do pixel on my tablet by an app called Pixel Brush. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure if I understand. Let's see. What I don't get in any studio for making games is how you can select any ability or anything to make the game have special things like Mega Man copy weapons. How do you do that to make him copy? The block system and special thing you can do to your character is what I can't get it. Okay, so if I understand your question, the second one is how do you come up with the idea? Coming up with the idea is easy. How do you implement it? Implementing it is also easy in that the system is defined by your thought, right? So you say, okay, I want him to be able to copy abilities. So you already know going in what you need the character to be able to do, which is copy enemy abilities. So then it's just about actually making that part, actually doing it. But like, coming up with the idea is like, oh, I want him to copy stuff, and that itself, the idea is the plot of your design, right? You want him to be able to copy. You want your Mega Man character to be able to copy different elements, copy different items, copy different weapons, things like that. So if you know that going in, then well, I gotta be able to, for the first part, let's just make it easy. For Mega Man, you have different palettes, right? So you have like blue Mega Man, red Mega Man, green Mega Man, yellow Mega Man, black Mega Man, those kind of, or dark gray Mega Man or whatever, those kind of different color schemes to represent he's switching between those colors. So that's the one thing you'll know you need. And then you know that you'll need different projectiles, right? So because that's the point. So you say, okay, well, he has the normal lemons that he can shoot, but then he also has, let's say, a water like spray that will spray out onto the ground. So there you go. So you say, okay, well, this one has, maybe it's heavy, it's stronger, but it's shorter range and it falls onto the ground faster. So that's a very basic projectile you make, and then you just go from there. You just make more projectiles, make the sprites, and make the pallets, and there you go. Kirby's a little more difficult because, like, and Mega Man can be difficult too, but like Kirby, a lot of his moves are not the same moves. Like some of them are projectiles, some of them are like melee attacks, some of them have a lot of animation or movement, so it's like it requires more defined design, but like overall it's the same basic process, and that's the process for any game development. So overall, yeah, this is what we have here, and it's working really well, and it's really solid, and it's really good. So something else I added, because I wanted to be able to tell if, for example, the player is standing on something, I was like, oh man, how am I going to do that? I have to like store collisions or something like that, but I just made it really simple. I said, okay, what if we just move attempt to move down, and if we get a collision, then we know that he's standing on something, right? So I just say we look through all the objects in the world, check for a collision downward, and if there's a collision, then we go ahead and no, we don't actually have to do this part, but if it's collision, then we already know that he's standing on something, and so we reset the coyote jump counter. And if you press jump and you have the coyote jump counter under 10, then that's a jump. This is just basically a simplified version of like this. It would be the more complex version that does the same thing would be this, essentially. Something like that, where basically he's on the ground or your coyote jump counter is under 10, but since we reset the counter whenever he's on the ground, we can just check for the coyote jump counter itself to be under 10. Yeah. So what I was going to do is clean up my code a little bit, because I would like to open source this as just like a really straightforward, easy arcade physics system. And one thing I'm missing is a system to basically auto check for collisions. I have something that allows you to resolve against a collision, but it doesn't allow you to loop through objects. So I wanted to basically make a shape collection that allows you to add shapes to that collection and then determine to see if they're colliding or not. So basically, just I want to get rid of this code and this code and this code, and just replace that with a function that does it for me. And right now I'm using interfaces for this, which is fine. That should work fine for my purposes here. So what I was testing is basically when you go ahead and do make a shape collision and add a shape, and then remove a shape, it has to determine if the shape, like we have to remove the right shape, right? So let's say you have a collection of shapes, and you want to remove a shape. It can't just be like, for example, we can see here, the shape that we pass in is different from the shape that we have in our collection of shapes. So I'm saying shape a lot. So basically what I'm saying is I'm on this stage of basically being able to add and remove shapes. So that's what we're looking for. So what I'm going to do then is make a pointer to a rectangle like this. Okay, and then when we go to world, we want to add that shape. Let me see here. We want to be able to add a pointer to. Okay, that works. So we just need. Okay, so I guess we don't have to do that. That's fine. So then when we. so now we want to go ahead and add and remove the shape. So we should be able to determine basically if these shapes are the same. These are the same. So if I were to, though, say shape is equal to and rectangle 0, 0, 20, 20. False. Okay, good. So that means that this rectangle here is not the same as the rectangle that we passed in. So that's good. Let's see. Always says K. I'm saying shape a lot. Let's see. Mariano says, wait, do you mean those are shapes? Are you sure? Yep. Yep, these are shapes. These are all shapes. The idea is that basically a shape collection is kind of like a world in other physics engines. It's basically just a collection of shapes that you can use to easily determine if a shape is colliding with another one, because it maintains an array of shapes, and you can also check to see if easily if it's colliding with a shape with a certain tag. So shapes all have tags, like for example, we'll add ones here. So they'll have a tag, which is a string, and they'll also have a data type. We'll call it a let's call it data, and that'll be an interface. So basically, each shape can have something associated with it. That's fine. So now when we go back, oh, it's not. Okay, that's not. Cool. So basically, what we want to do then is, actually, let's do this real quick. I want to see what our shape collection looks like. This is my headphone thing is annoying. It's right where I need it not to be. Okay. Let's see. We don't need the player anymore. Let's go to world real quick. Let's do this. Go. This is all, yeah, box 2D stuff that we don't need anymore. Look at all that code. Look at all that code we can just get rid of. It's so much better. Super clean. Alright. So, let's see. Okay, so we just need to add the shape. We don't actually need the terrain anymore at some point. Yeah, we don't actually need the terrain anymore, but that's okay. We'll just work with it for now. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we have 9 shapes. Alan says, I was seeing somebody basic sprites I made and they recommended Krita. Yeah, Krita's good. I think I prefer GIMP to Krita, and then I prefer ASprite to GIMP for pixel art. I would say GIMP is really nice, really easy to set up. Krita, I think it's really more based around the brush idea. GIMP is more kind of general. It's more of a general paint program. Krita is more of a brush-based paint program. So that's nice if you get used to it. You probably can use it for some really nice effects and ideas and stuff, maybe for higher res pixel art, but if you're just making like low res stuff, or if you just prefer really basic pixel art, or just to have control over it yourself, I would say GIMP or ASprite. Probably ASprite first, especially if you do animation, but if you are cheap or ASprite doesn't run on your computer, then use GIMP. I would prefer GIMP. I would say GIMP is nice. Let's see. Okay, so basically we're adding this shape to the shape collection, which is cool. Now, what we want to do because we're basically just keeping everything the same. We want to try removing the shape. So removing the shape, because I believe there's no real easy way to do this, is we're going to loop through the shape list and find, let me see. Yeah, we're gonna loop the shape list and find the one that is the same as the one we're looking for. So we say if s is equal to shape found. Okay. Oh, we don't need any of this. Okay. It doesn't like this. I is. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Alright, so let's see. Alright, so it did find the player. Shape. So we say if s is equal to shape found, then we want to take the index and break out of here. And then we say sc-shapes equals make interface 0 sc, or I guess we don't have to do that. Equals sc-shapes blank to I guess I do I 0 blank I plus. Okay, that might be better, yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and try this. The idea is that basically in order to delete this thing, we have to make a new list that does not comprise that object. So let's try that. Let's see. 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and print SE shapes before and after. Let's see. Alan says, have you made decent earnings from your games? I've made a couple $100, a few hundred. I wouldn't say like it's not life money, no. You have to be like really successful. You have to be like have a really good idea for a game to be able to make money from it and live off of it. Like not just an idea, but really good execution too. Yeah. So like I feel like it's. I would recommend making games for someone who wants to make them. I would say that everyone should make a game, like everyone should paint or everyone should play a musical instrument. It's very nice, it's creative, it's really encouraging, it's really nice to do, but I wouldn't rely on it for a full-time job. It's way too, there's no way to really predict whether your game is going to sell well or not, I would say. Alright, so I think it's properly working. It looks like it's kicking out this object here. All the other ones are the same. So that's good. But what we want to do is basically cut out, like properly cut this out. So we have to do something like this. Append there to SE shapes I, like that. So what we can do is actually like something like this, I guess, would be better. If length shapes, yeah. If the length of SC shapes is greater than I, then do this. Else, do this. So we cut it out properly, because basically the idea is we want to make sure that we grab everything beyond the player or beyond whatever we're cutting out. So basically, like if the player is, let's say, is here, we want to get all the other objects to remove it from the world. And if the player is here, we want to get all the objects before. And if the player is in the middle, we want to grab the objects before and after, which is this slice notification that you're seeing here. So basically, we say if the, and I don't think this is right, let's see. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if the length is greater than 8, 9. So it's 8, it's 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If it's 9, it's greater than 8, we want to pin. No, it's greater than I plus 1. So basically, we want to just properly grab this. Okay, so this should work, I believe. So let's test this. What we're going to do is put the player, add the player shape before we go ahead and add the physics world, so he'll be at the beginning of the list, and then we'll remove his object, his rectangle from the list. So it's this, now it's this. This doesn't work because we're making a slice. We want to make a new list entirely. There we go. That doesn't really help us for the situation we're running into. It's making a list inside of a list for some reason. New list equals SC shapes. Let's see. Let's cut this out real quick so I can see exactly how this is working. Yeah, okay, that's right. So, okay, let's see. All says, you can't hear me, but I'm humming this gear and soundtrack behind the screen. Thank you. I'm glad, oh man, I'm glad to hear that, thank you. He asked, also did it take you long to make that sprite? Mine looks derpy, and I'm not done. No, it took me, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes, not too long. It's a pretty small sprite. Oh, there's stuff there. It's a pretty small sprite. I think that the longer you work, the longer you make games, the longer you make pixel art, the faster you'll be able to do stuff. So don't worry about the speed too much. Like, take your time. Keep working on it. All right. So yeah, for some reason it's making a list inside of a list. I think it's this. Sure exactly why it's doing that though. Let's see. Let's say it was just this. Okay, that's right. So why is the append making another list? Let's switch up the music a little bit. Alan says, the more I find YouTubers like you, the more I'm inspired. Oh man, that's excellent to hear. Aoi says, who's got the nerve to dislike? Oh, someone disliked? Okay, I'm shutting down the stream. This is it. Someone doesn't like me working. They don't like that I'm putting in the hours. They don't like that I'm trying to teach people and I'm giving people advice. And I'm not rude. They can't handle it. Or maybe someone just clicked. Oh well. Let's see. What's going on here? So, what is... We're adding shapes. Before we do that, let's just, like, chill for a second. Let me just chill for a second. Okay, so these lists are the exact same. Okay, so now we're doing this. Now, why is SC shapes? I don't get it. Why is SC shapes printing out modified the first time? That's so weird, because it's not... I'm not doing anything to it yet. Append... Yeah, this is so weird. Aoi says, yes, love the soundtrack. Thanks, man. How does this work? This is kind of strange. Okay, so it looks like the lists themselves are the same. So I guess it's because... Oh, I got it. I gotta do this. There we go. That might be what I need to do. Yep. Alright, so basically, if you're interested in seeing what I did, what this is a list. And I'm appending to it this list. So I'm adding to this list. I want to add the elements of this list to this list. So basically, if you can imagine, like, basically, let's say this is a list, right? And I say, okay, and then I have B, which is a list, let's say, like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I say, okay, A equals append A, B. That's going to mean that A now equals 1, 2, 3, 4. See? Because I'm putting B inside of A. So A is a blank list. I'm putting B in there. What I really want to do is A equals append A, B dot dot dot, which basically means take stuff out of B and put it into A, which now means I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I had stuff in A to begin with, let's say like 8, this would mean I would have like 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not what I want. What I want is 8, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. There we go. We got it. We got it. There we go. Cool. Don't forget to expand the list. Alright, that's not a word. To dump the list out. Don't forget to, what's it? When you take a list and you got stuff in it and you want to like what's the word? Don't forget to like, I don't know, append the elements in the list. Okay. Kroby says, relaxing music, SolarLune. I am relaxed. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Mariano says extract. Yeah, extract the elements in the list. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Alan says, I will be back in a long while if you are still streaming. Anyways, I'm sure I will be here for a future stream, but I have to go. Enjoying your content so far. Bye. Oh, thanks for stopping by, man. See ya. See ya, Alan Escoles. Escolas. Let's see. Cool. All right, so this should be good. We're getting there. The idea is solid. So the player, where is he in the list? He's after. Okay, so he's here. Or no, wait, where is he? Oh no, it's not working right. All right, I think we want to do like I -1. Let's see, let's try that. Whoops, didn't like that. Alright. The player is at the beginning. It's taking something else out. Let's see. Why does it feel like it's adding? Let me see, hold on. I feel like it's adding something to the list. Because these two are the same. 207B0, 207B0. So why is it adding something to the list? Even when we don't actually do anything with it. Pinned. Alright, let's do it like this. Alright, so this is an empty list. So I guess we want to append... Right, okay, everything before, and then everything after. So this is all the stuff that's after him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's right. I+1 new list is this. Let's actually do a list a little more productively. Let's try this. Let's love that. Let's go ahead and make, because I'm unfamiliar with this. Let's make something else. That way I can have a little more control over the position of the rectangle. Alright, so here's the before, here's the after, here's the new list. A0, and then, yeah, it's not... What is this 2... Okay, wait. It's weird because like there's no change, but then once I actually do this to like modify it, it's actively changing the original list. That's what it seems like. Let's just do that so that it's just like we're not doing nothing with it. Yeah, it's changing the list. It's changing the source list somehow. I'm pretty sure it's this line right here. Yeah, it's changing the source list. How is it doing that? Kroby says, "What is the ability you put in the list? You put it in the list for your character?" I don't have any ability for the character yet. I'm just basically working on the mechanics. Kroby says, "I'm really sure that the game developers work so hard like you, SolarLune, to make games, and Sakurai for making Smash Ultimate." Yeah, Sakurai definitely does. I just got stunned because Mariano says, "Doesn't a pin modify the first argument?" It's not supposed to. Kroby says, "Bye for now. If I see that you will still stream, I'll be back." Alright, thanks for stopping by, man. Alright, I gotta... Does a pin actually modify the first argument? I thought that it just returns... It adds this list, or the elements after this, to the original list and returns that. I thought it didn't actually... like, modify the original list. S equals append S. Okay. Okay, there's nothing more about that. Let's see. Okay, what does the documentation say? The append builder function appends elements to the end of a slice. Append returns the updated slice. My goodness, you're right. Thank you, Mariano, for giving me that hint, because I was like, what is going on? Why is it happening? Okay, so it's adding this to the original list. That means I want this to be, I guess I want it to be like this. Maybe? Or I guess I want it to be like this. Oh, I get it. I know I need it to be like this. Too many arguments to a pin. What? A pin takes a ridiculous amount of slices. Alright, whatever. I guess I'll do it like this. Alright, I think we're on the right track now. Oh, I just went to replace this. There we go. All right, I think we're on the right track here. Let me check this out. Yo. Alright, I think we're in the right... Yeah, yo, I think we cut it out. Yeah, we cut this one out. We cut the second one out. That's exactly what we want. Because we add the player, we add something else, we add the rest, we remove that second thing, we're good. So we got the player, we got something, we got the world objects here that come after, and everything's, yeah, it's cut out. Perfect. So let's actually try different orders just to make sure that it's not going to crash on us. Okay, yeah, so now it removes this one at the beginning. And now it should remove it at the end and not crash. Yep, looks like it's working. Alright, so I think we're good. We can remove that. We don't need that. Kind of wish this was like easier to see, but it's not like impossible, it's just not really easy to see. Easy to read. So maybe I'll make a string function to like represent this a little more effectively. Because no one likes just random values. I guess there's a function to do that, but whatever. Anyway, alright. So I guess I can do that. I can make a function that stringifies a string collection. Cool. So in sc dot shapes. Can't do that. Okay, that's kind of working. I just have to... Mariano says you have to stringize rectangle to be able to do that. Yeah, I don't want to add string functions to all this stuff, so I feel like I can just have a shape, because if you print out, I think, one directly, I think it'll actually, like, know what to do. But if you just go ahead and say, like, oh, w.player.physicsrect, I think if you try to print that out, it'll be like, oh, this is a pointer to this object. Yeah, because it knows, like, you probably don't want to just have the value. You want to have, like, the contents. So, what's null? Oh, that's the data. Okay. So, yeah, if you print out the string collection, the shape collection rather, I feel like it's better to like have a representation of each individual thing. So I guess I'm wondering why it doesn't just... Why it's different actually. Why format.println is different from format.sprintf. Alright. I think there's a thing to do this. I don't remember what it is though. Is it like V? Yeah, that's it. So we'll just put a space between those and yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that's cool. That's good enough, I guess. Mariano says stringizing it, you could tell position and size in tiles instead of pixels, which is probably more readable. I mean, this is alright. It's alright for what it is, I think. I don't think I need that much more. I just want to be able to, yeah, kind of see, like, oh yeah, here's some stuff. It'll be easier once we add defining elements, because there's each rectangle and point have a tag. So, like, if you were to add solid to shapes, that would be there. Like, we'll do that next, actually. Well, yeah, we'll try that. Hold on. Yeah, so these are all solid. And then this is the player here. So the player, we don't really need him. And we can also, we'll also be able to see that, like, it's what it's doing here if we just go like this. So you can see this one at the beginning is the player since it's moving back and forth. Cool. It's alright for now. Alright, so next what we want to do is make it a little easier. The whole point of this was basically to make it easier for the player to test for collisions. So the idea behind that is rather than looping through the objects ourselves, we don't have to keep a list of objects apart from the shape collection, because the shape collection now has a list that can be modified, or rather maintained. So we should be able to just basically cut out this loop and all these loops and just more easily do this. So what we'll do, we'll start with this, which is basically if he's on the ground. So, if she's on the ground rather. So we'll go to, because this is working, we don't need this, we don't need these, we don't need that. Yeah, that's good. I wonder if this is if there's an easier way to do this. This isn't like super easy, but I wonder if there's an easier way. Anyway, it's colliding. Okay, so what we can do here Polyscone says, "Hey, which game are you working on at the moment?" This is not really a game per se. What do I have? Oh, that's the chat. I'm gonna switch up the music. I'm not really working on a game per se. I'm working on more on the mechanics. I have a general idea. I think it would be kind of cool, but like nothing really locked in. This is just basically working on physics engine for platformers and for general purpose arcade games. For testing about like checking for collisions, resolving collisions, things like that. Like a really simple physics engine. For like just those really solid, really crunchy physics. Alright, so let's go ahead and... nah. Yeah, that's fine. So, the idea is basically you have a shape collection that... Oh, wait. This would be nice if I had a shape struct, because then I could take anything for the shape struct. How do I want to approach this? Mariano, come through in the chat, or rather in the in Discord. Polyzone says you could use an interface here for shapes. It does mean you need to define methods instead of straight fields, but it would give you more type safety. Yeah, that's true. But the thing about defining shapes is that in order for shapes to determine if they're colliding, I have to cast them anyway. Because basically I have to check, for example, if it's a rectangle and it's trying to collide with a rectangle, then it says, okay, here's how you determine if a rectangle is colliding with a rectangle. And if it's a point, then the point handles that. The point class has a function that tells us whether it's in the rectangle or not. But basically it says, yeah, if you're within the bounds of the rectangle, then you're colliding with it. Or if you have the same values as another point, then you're colliding with it. So that's kind of the idea here, is that I still have to cast because I have to know exactly, is it a rectangle and not just is it a shape. That's why I'm like, I tried to like begin to create a shape interface, but I feel like I don't know if I really want to do that just yet. The only real advantage is that I wouldn't have to cast stuff here, because I could just say, oh, it's a shape and it has a is colliding function, then just go ahead and cast call that. So I guess I'll do that. Because I'll just do, whoops, interface up. Mariano says, don't mind yeah, let's read for later. Thank you, Mariano. I appreciate it. Okay, so this is going to be a shape interface, and this is going to have a is colliding function that returns bool, and it takes an interface. So I should be able to then take anything for the shape, and then just say for other blank other in range sc.shapes if shape, I guess if shape dot is colliding other, return true, otherwise return false, and it's cool. So that kind of works. So then resolve is basically the same thing, except it just says if shape dot, and it takes a shape. Instead of that though, it returns a collision just like it does for this one, resolve. So it says if shape dot is colliding other, then return shape dot resolve. Okay, so that means that they need to have resolve functions. And they take, we'll just copy this. Other. Or, let's see, shape. So I guess this really could return a pointer to the other shape that's colliding to, huh? That way... Oops. That means that we should keep a pointer... Oh, yeah, that's right. Can't use other... Oh, okay, we have to cast it first. Because is colliding... Well, it's a boolean, that's fine. We'll just keep it as a boolean. So if shape.is colliding other, return shape.resolve other x-axis speed. Otherwise, return a new collision object. Alright, that's the idea. Polygon says, I see what you mean. If you did want to stick with the interface type, then you could use a type switch to ease the pain of type assertions. I mean, you could still do that anyway, I suppose, since you'll need to at least type. Still need to type assert at some point. Yeah. Alby says, yeah. Yeah, I do need to type assert to determine if shapes are colliding with each other somewhere. Fortunately, this seems a little easier because that way I don't have to have like a, if it's a rectangle, if it's a point, just use the same functions and the same everything. So that works at least. Polygon says the other alternative to type assertions is to give the interface a method that returns a string with the name of the shape. Then you could just do string comparisons. But ideally, the functions should be the exact same. I think this is okay for now. I'll have to rethink how I want to approach this. But this is just something to make it a little easier. Shapes, the shapes... Yeah, this might work. Let me see. Alright, so no change yet, which is good. So it basically still works. I feel like this is kind of bananas, but at the same time, I feel like it's not that insane. So this works. Alright, so let's go ahead and actually try to apply this. So this is where we're actually like testing for stuff. So what we want to do is say col equals p.physicsrec.resolve. Or no, wait. p.world.shapecollection.resolve. Col false 1. Oh, it doesn't actually. No, wait. Wait, why am I... I guess that's right, yeah. Shape collection.resolve shape colliding other shape.resolve other. Let's actually see this real quick. This is kind of bananas. This is kind of bananas. One thing that I probably should do is go ahead and check to see if a collision could happen before I even begin the resolve process. So let's do that. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and do that before we continue. So if, let's see, if r dot is colliding other. So basically, if it's not colliding, then we don't even need to do anything, essentially. Just because I'm doing a lot of stuff here, and I feel like this might not be necessary. Because it kind of breaks out. Like, if it's colliding... Yeah. So if we're not colliding, then it returns some distance plus speed. Yeah, I guess we'll just do this for now. There we go. Okay, let's check that to make sure. Oh, it isn't like that. Player. Okay. Mariano says an enum is way more performant than a string, though. Yeah, I was gonna suggest enum, so I'd already written the word string, so I just went with that. Polyscone says. Yeah, oh snap! Oh, it's not working right. Okay, it really doesn't like that. Okay, it really doesn't like this idea of colliding. Okay, so never mind. It was working before. Never mind. I thought I was being, like, smart and, like, cutting out stuff. Alright, we're good. We're back to working. We're back to working. Alright, cool. So let's go back. So we have a resolve function. If shape.is colliding others, return shape.resolve other axis speed, return collision, otherwise returns deflecting. Alright, so this works. Oh, that's what I'm doing. I need to pass p dot physics rec. Okay, I was wondering like what's going on. There we go. That might be better. Yo. Oh, no. Yeah, it's not working. Let's see. Yeah, it's not working. Okay. Let's go ahead and try this again. So is colliding resolve for other shape dot. Oh, I just need to do this. Alright, because what I was doing before is this. Okay, so yeah, I just have to do that over here. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so res equals this. If res.colliding, return res. There we go. That should work. So basically, this is gonna stop on the first collision. Still not working. What's going on? Let's see. No collision. I guess it was shape.resolve other. Okay, so it is a rectangle. It does know that. And we try calling resolve on it. Others access and speed. Those are the same. Okay. Let's go down. Let's see. Mariano says going for dinner. BRB. Always says I want some. Okay, let's see. So let's make sure this is running first. This is gonna spam it, but let's. Yeah, there's no way to even like interpret that. Let's go ahead and try this. We want to check to see if this specifically is working. Let's comment out these. Okay, I see that's testing against itself. That's no good. So we need to make sure it doesn't do that. Alright, that's good. But now we still have to. It's still not. Shape dot is colliding other. Let's check that. Reflection dot is colliding. P dot. Oh, what's that even testing? It's testing to see if it's touching anything? Okay, yeah, that's fine. I was like, well, what's the point of that? Okay. It'll make more sense once I get a little bit further into it. Let's see. P dot. This is right. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, something's not working right. Shape that is colliding other. Strange. It's taking a shape. Okay, I think I did something wrong. Because is colliding isn't returning true for a shape. Okay, let's try something really simple. P.world or P.player or physics rect that is colliding P.physics rect. Yeah, it's not okay. Something's not working right. Oh, it's because they're pointers. Oh, they're pointers. Oh, gosh. I forgot. Jeez Louise. Now we're in cooking with gas. That's not fun. Man. Okay. Yeah, alright. That's I'll make a warning. Alright. Temp1261 says, so you're basically building a game engine from scratch? Nah, not really. It's more of it's specifically something that's a physics related. Yeah, more physics related than anything, but it's not really a game engine per se from scratch. Okay, so I think we're good to go ahead and do p.world.shapecollection.resolve. P.physics rect false 1. Okay, let's see if that works. Warning, object isn't a valid shape. Okay, so okay, I got it. So it needs to be... that help? Do I make it so that they have to be pointers? Does that mean that you couldn't... No, wait, that would just apply... Yeah, that's not good. This is interesting. This is really interesting. Okay. I know exactly what's going on. I'm just trying to see, like, if I really want to do it this way. If this is a good idea. Alright, well, anyway, let's continue. Oh, they're not necessarily rects. That's right. Let's see. We're almost there. So this is a it should be a pointer rects. Oh, we don't need it actually. Yeah, that's right. That's why. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so now we just say. Alright, I think that might be it. After fully... Yo! Let's go, boy! It's working! That's pretty crazy. Okay, so it actually does work. So now we managed to reduce all these lines down. All this other stuff we can manage to get down. It's not a huge difference, but now we don't have to loop through things all the time. Basically now what this does, the resolve function on shape collection, what it does is just run resolve on objects until it finds a collision, which is cool. So that works. So what we can add now is the ability for a collision to contain data about the shapes that are involved in the collision. So I think only resolve actually does it. So out dot shape b other. Oops. Oh, it doesn't. Yeah. Okay, so it needs to be a shape specifically. I feel like I can't help but feel like I'm making a huge mistake each time I walk into this. You know what? I'm getting scared. I'm gonna go back. Right there, I think that's where it was working. I'm gonna go ahead and make a backup of this. Because I'm scared. There we go. Alright, alright. Alright, let's push on. Cause yeah, I would like to be able to like refer to them, I think. Okay, hold on. Out.shape A equal a pointer to R. Why can't it do that? Why can't it take a pointer to R? Can I use R as type shape and assignment? Shape is pointer to interface, not interface. Oops. Yeah, why can't it? Or, oh, do I have to do like R dot shape like that? Or maybe non-interface. That's stupid. Yeah. Let's see. Non-interface type rectangle on left. Non-interface type. Polyscum says, when you declare a shape field in a struct, you don't need to say it's a pointer with the asterisk. Go will allow pointers either way. But yeah, rectangle should fill a shape. But I guess they have different sizes. Oh, rectangle does not implement shape. Wrong type for resolve method. Have resolve shape when in resolve interface. There's gotta be a pointer to a shape. Let's see. If it's... Let's see. He says, tomorrow I have a very nice day of coding, sunbox, and pixel art. Oh, that sounds good. Man, how does this work? We managed to get it working, but I wanted to ideally have a pointer to the data in there if possible. Alright, I guess I'll just make it so that they point to interfaces, I guess. There's no reason for them to point to shapes specifically. That's more of something for shape collection to deal with. It doesn't actually need to be a shape. Yeah, that's true. Okay. We're good. Let's go back. Alright, we're good. So out that shape A equals R. Yeah, save. And we'll just make these interfaces. Okay, good. It'd be nice. I guess is colliding could be. Mariano says I'm back. Always says you didn't bring me any. Oh well. All right. So this is good. So basically, when there is a resolution, that lets us know what bodies are involved. Now the idea, the goal behind this. Yeah, actually, shape doesn't have to be something that can be like directly interacted with. This colliding could just be an interface. Oh, that's why I have a shape, so that I don't have to cast. I see. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. So then, yeah, we don't want to use this. We want it to be an interface down here. Alright, I think we're getting there. Alright, we're getting there, we're getting there. So this should be working right now, basically. Yeah, let me just go back over to the world. To render, we need to basically cast this to a pointer to a rectangle. There we go. There we go. Cool. You know what? I was gonna do this like using a tag system and stuff, but I feel like that actually might be more unnecessary. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that up to the player, the developer, to work with. I'm gonna make a system that allows you to get and check. Or no, like that doesn't make sense, I guess. Wait, I'm almost there. Hold on, let me just think about this a little bit. No, well, let's see. Maybe I don't need tags, maybe I do. I might be... Well, let me stop for now and let's see how this is working right now. So I'm thinking like, what if you wanted to select only some of the shapes? Like in this example. What if maybe we could say we had a function that allows you to filter out specific shapes, and that returns another shape collection. So it runs a function on the shapes to filter them down. Then if you could have the shapes as a function, that'll make it easier to, let's get rid of that. Maybe not, maybe not. Let's stay with the system that we have right now with the tag and the interface, data interface. And we have the shapes too. So we resolve the collision. We want to get a pointer to both. Okay. I think we're let's see. Maybe we don't need a pointer. Okay, well let's not I'm getting ahead of myself maybe. Let's stop with what we have. Pause with what we have there and just kind of play around with this. Alright, and let's look around at the code that we have. So we check to see if you can move down, and if it's colliding, we actually don't need to really test that, we can just do that. It's unlikely that it would be a downward collision, but not be a downward collision. Yeah, that's fine. So if you're colliding, so I guess actually we don't need to do that, we could just do this. ugly, but we'll store it there. Okay, so we're jumping. Okay, and then we say we try to fall down. It's colliding. Otherwise, we just apply the speed. All right, that's really pretty simple overall. So that's kind of what I wanted to try out, was something more specific with the tag system. And it's not actually working. Let's see. So it is colliding. Other is not equal to shape. It's colliding. So that works. Resolve, but not is colliding. I guess because it moves it up. Okay, that's why. So it's never colliding. That's no good. And I'm just sitting here thinking, because basically the whole point of this is to basically allow you to check to see if you're colliding with something, but I think it's never going to actually allow you to do that because it's not really made for that. So let's approach this from a couple of different angles. One, let's say that there was an object that we wanted you to be able to collide with that isn't solid. Let's say this is a zone of some description that you can't actually touch. It's just basically there for you to be able to, trigger something. How would we actually implement that? Well, one would be to add a function, either a function or a tag that we can specify like that. And if we specify the tag, then we can say I guess we'll just do like so other would have to be a shape, which means we have to get a tag, return a string. And this is no, that doesn't work. This won't work for sure, right? Because adding shapes is like not gonna work, I don't think. Yeah, it really doesn't like that. Because adding shapes, a shape is not the same thing as an interface. You do a pointer to interface, but that still doesn't really save nothing. This shape. Pointer to a shape specifically. shape is not a type. Oh, because it's an interface. Yeah. Yeah, that won't work. So I guess I'll have to cast them first. Alright. Polygon says you shouldn't use a pointer to a shape, just shape is fine. But the problem is, if we don't use pointers to stuff, it's possible to make copies of things. Like, the player has a copy of his physics rectangle here, and he adds that to the, yeah, he adds that to the, actually he should add that, hold on. Yeah, that should be here. Oops. And this should be, no, this should be, oh, that actually did that change. Polygon says, even if you declare something as a shape type, Go will let you assign a pointer to whatever is implementing shape. I'm not sure if I understand. Hold on, let me go back. Because this is basically where we are. The whole point of the tag system was basically to be able to say like, oh, this is, you know, when this has this tag, then it's something that you can interact with because it's got that tag. So for example, if you're checking for collisions with solid geometry, then anything that doesn't have the solid tag, you might want to not check for, not collide with. Resolve. I'm not getting any errors here with player. Okay. Okay, where's the errors? Oh, is it because they? Oh, it was the string. Okay, let's not. Yeah. All right. So we're back to well. Oh, it's because the shape collection doesn't exist yet. Why does there's new player, shape collection is here. That's weird. That's really weird. I'm not. Am I? Let's see. Okay, why is w.shape collection just a blank thing? It should be nil, if anything. This is so weird. Why is that created? Okay. Yeah, okay. So weird. There's nothing. There's nil. I don't get why this isn't nil. What in the world? So it's nil before, but then after I assign to it, it's just empty? How is that possible? It's a pointer to a shape collection. I don't get it. What? This is so weird. Okay. Let's back up a little bit. Alright, that works. But not this. I don't... Okay. What in the world? Why is it blank? I don't understand. It's nil, but once we assign to it, it's no longer nil, but there's nothing there. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Alright, I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. First time I've seen something like this. It must be, I'm guessing it's like a threading thing, maybe? Alright, let me go back, I guess. It must be a threading thing. This must be, for whatever reason, spawning another thread when I call this function. And this function ends before this function ends. Before it creates a new shape collection. Something. I have no idea. Somehow this is being called after this, but I think this is finishing before this finishes. And it's assigned back. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Siddhartha Juluru says, can't you use weight groups to make it run after new shape collection ends? I shouldn't have to. It's just a function, right? This runs after this. I mean, Golang isn't inherently multi-threaded, right? I mean, these are. I would assume that these all run on the same thread because I'm not using Go anywhere to launch another thread. It should just be like, this runs and then this runs. Like, it's not in parallel or anything. It's just running one after the other, after the other. So I don't get how on earth W could not have a completed shape collection at this stage. Yeah, somehow it's just not done yet. I don't know on what planet this is happening. This is the weirdest thing. I've never encountered a bug like this where somehow I was able to get something to happen that didn't actually happen. Also, wait, how is the player actually colliding? Oh, we don't actually have to add the shape. Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, so that actually works pretty well. So we don't actually have to add the shape to the collection to test for collisions. Okay, that's a cool feature. So yeah, we can, well, we will do it though, because, I mean, we might want to... Alright, but now wait, I go back to my original problem. How do I make sure that this runs? Alright, well, I'm not sure why new shape collection is taking so long to run, actually, either. Because this is a lot less code than all this stuff, so I'm not sure exactly how this is happening, but I guess we'll do this. I guess I don't have a lot of options, so that's fine. Alright, so ideally we want to be able to assign tags to stuff to basically influence what objects are able to be interacted with or not. Okay, let's see. Polygon says, even if you declare something as a shape type, Go will let you still assign a pointer to whatever is implementing shape type. So if you have rect equals ampersand rectangle, then you can still assign that to a shape field even though it's a pointer. Basically, a pointer shape and a shape are two completely different things in Go. If you want to assign pointers to the shape, it's fine and will be what you want in almost all cases. Okay, I guess that's, you mean like it'll dereference automatically, so I can just provide a shape or a pointer to a shape to this that's expecting a shape, and that should work. Alright. Alright. Okay, I think I got it. But that doesn't quite help me in this particular issue though, does it? Or can I use that? Let's see. Because I need to basically see if a shape has a tag, which means that this needs to be cast either in here, or I need to basically have sc.shapes be a list of shapes. Alright, let's try casting it. Shape is not a type. Why can't I cast to a shape? It's an interface. Oh, this is I use shape here. Okay, my mistake. Alright, there we go, that's better. Yo, okay, I got it. Ugh. Yeah. And the reason why I have shape lowercase like that is because I don't want to export it out of here. It's not really meant to be used. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's used or not. I guess it's fine. I'm just like all over the place, man. Let's see. Alright, I think let's go ahead and see if we're good. Alright, we're still good, we're still good. Alright, we're still good, we're still good. Alright, so the whole point of this is if other.get tag is equal to tag. So if tag is equal to nil or, then doesn't like this because it's, yeah. Can I say that? Because I mean I want to, well I guess I'll just do it like this. If tag is equal to blank. Or, yeah. Alright, so then get tag, return the string, and now these have to implement that. Okay, I think I got it. I think I'm done. Alright, so now what I should be able to do... No, let's see. Alright. So this kind of works. I think. Let's see. It's not working. Let's see. I never actually assigned solid to the other. When did I? Oh, I did. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I did. I forgot. It works. All right, so this works. The only thing that we want to do is test it, which we should be able to do by saying, for example, this is the solid layer, and this is the non-solid layer. Oh, I guess I gotta just do it like this. Yo, it's working. Yo, let's go. Alright, so it's working. It's actually working. So at this stage, what I probably would do next is... I'm not sure if I even like this tag system. I feel like it might be better to make shape collection the point of, like, changing. Marielle says, does it collect... detect collision though? I'm not sure what you mean. You mean like if the non-solid object, does it detect collision? You should be able to see if you collide with it. Let's see. Let's try to check for that. Let's go over here. We have to do this with the tag system, tag string, and that's why I had the tag system. Just so that you can do something like that, and then we save others an actual shape and other dot, and we have cast other equals o dot shape. Okay, okay, and I guess and I guess it's okay to just directly cast it to shape because nothing else should be in here, right? I guess I should do something to like ensure that that's the case here, but yeah. Then I have to do that. If I can ensure that that's the case. All right. Huh? Oh. Oh. Okay. There we go. Okay. Whatever, that's fine. Let's see. Yo, yeah, I missed a little because coding takes a... Yeah, Kroby says, did I miss a lot? No. Coding takes a long time, yeah. Not that much. I was stuck for a while, yeah. Polyscone says, is colliding method... what's the reason for the o.shape type assert? Is sc.shapes not already a slice of shapes? Nope, it isn't. That's the problem. I can't make it a shape because it doesn't like that. Because basically... Actually, let me try that. Let's try making it. Well, before I do, let's go ahead and finish the tax system a little bit. I want to make sure that I get that working. Yo, okay, so it is working. So it is working if we actually do come into contact with it. So we can say like, oh, it's not solid. We're touching something that's not solid, or we're not touching. We're just touching anything. That works. The only thing is though, it doesn't work for things that are solid. But basically, if it places them outside of the object, then they're no longer colliding with it, which I kind of understand, but I don't like. So it only works like I'm not colliding with this thing right now. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because yeah, the rectangles are not touching, they're near, but yeah. Mariano says, great, so you implemented areas. Yeah, so that's the idea. It's basically now you have an area, you can have an area without having to really do anything extra. It's just a matter of a tag and not doing anything with it. It is inherently an area. Cool, so that does work. Let's see. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can make this an array of shapes. I am pretty sure we can't because it doesn't like that idea. Because shape is not an yeah, so it has to be a shape. It's gotta be a shape to remove it. Because new list can't be an array of. No, wait. Okay. Is colliding shape for other. Okay, so we don't need that anymore. We can just do this. Yeah, okay. Then we resolve. Okay. Don't need that. You can just say other. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Now let's see the player. Alright, nothing wrong with the player. Let's see if this No? Okay, are we... Is it gonna work? Yo, okay. For some reason that didn't work previously, but it works now. Okay. So then we don't have to do this, because we know that's the shape. And we can remove it, that's fine. Add shape, remove shape. We have an array of shapes. Okay, we're good. So... I think we should be good to go. Let's see. Solve. Yeah, other doesn't have to be a shape here. It doesn't really help us to make it a shape specifically. I mean, we could do it just to be, like, consistent, but it doesn't actually help us to make it a shape specifically. I guess that's fine. We can just make them shapes. Oh, it doesn't like that. Let's see. It's colliding. Oh. Alright, I think we're good. The problem, let's see. Polyscone says the problem you had before was that you're using the pointer to shape, but now that you've changed to just shape, it's all okay. Oh, really? Let's see. Is that really it? Is that... Well, that's good. Cool. So this is actually working pretty well. It's been 2 hours and some change. Okay. Kroby says, I feel sleepy, but I can hold it. You chill, man. You can chill. It's cool. Go to bed. You're good. You don't have to try that hard. Alright, I think we might stop here. Well, there's something that I wanted to try. And this music's getting annoying. There's something I wanted to try, which is basically kicking it around. So instead of having a tag specifically, we could get maybe something else. We could do this another way, where basically a shape collection is itself a kind of like just a collection of shapes. I mean, that is what it is. But basically, rather than directly doing a tag check in the functions, I could instead, instead of doing it here, I could make a function that basically gives you a shape collection with fewer shapes. So you could do like this, something like, instead of doing like that, you could do like p.world.shapecollection.get, and then like func shape s dot, I guess it would be like what's it, what am I looking for? P dot orb dot shape s dot get tag is equal to solid dot, something like that, so that basically it kind of like, well, that's a little much, I guess. Yeah, the tag system is pretty simple in comparison. It's very easy. Yeah, we're good. That's good. That's fine. Mariano says you can make a collection per tag too. Yeah, I could do that. That's true. I could make it. I gotta turn Discord notifications off or something. Let me see. How do I undo this? Didn't work. There we go. Okay, notifications should be off now. There we go. Okay, yeah, I can make a collection per tag. Yeah, that's true. So then, instead of having the tags, I could just make a collection for non-solid things, make a collection for whatever. That's an approach. That's an approach. We're good though. This is fine, I think. Alright. At least for now. This works. We're good. This is a completely functional physics thing. And it's tiny and it works well. How much what's our code we're sitting at now? 3.7 still. Hasn't gone up. Or it's gone up by only a few bytes or kilobytes. Okay, so I'm just messing around at this point. I'm just trying to see like how it feels, what it's like. Okay, let's go ahead and. Oh man, I don't know. I'm just kind of I think I'm done, but at the same time, I still have creativity. Like I still want to approach an idea and try something, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of done. But hey, we got a little bit of a better setup here. I guess space probably would have been better than shape collection, because space, yeah, shapes inhabit a space. That sounds better. They share a space. Yeah, I like that better. Yeah, it's better. Fez Pazarino says, "Hey Lune, how's it going?" It's going well, thank you. Thank you very much. Polygon says, "If the shape collection is only a slice, you can do type shape collection as an array of shape instead of a struct. You can still define methods on it like normal too. It just means you don't have to use sc.shapes all the time." Oh, that is better. Yeah, thank you. I always forget about that ability to make a type out of something that's more than. I didn't even know too much about that. That you can make a type out of something that's apart. Like I knew that you can make it out of like a base variable like int, but I didn't know like a list or an array is a valid type too. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over here and instead make it a shape. Whew, this is crazy. Okay. First argument to append must be slice. Have a pointer space. S equals append. Oh, it says the quality just went oof for me. Huh, I don't see anything that indicates there's a problem on my end just right now. Maybe a few seconds ago. No, yeah, it should be. This is a slice. It doesn't like that at all. Let's see, Polyscone says you should be able to change func sc space to just O, since sc is just a slice already. I see. Yeah, you're right. So then, yeah, we don't need these at all. Let's actually rename sc to space sp. We'll just rename it sp, that way it's a little easier. Okay, I think we got it. Nope. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Add shape. SP equals append SP. Let's see. Yeah, it's not working. Let's see. No, it doesn't like that. Polyscone says maybe you do need func sp pointer to space after all, and you just need to just dereference it to alter it. Let's see. Let's just try this for now. Let's try just dropping it over there, and then let's try that. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Oh. No, wait, yeah, that's just, yeah, and then dereference it. No, but we have to. Yeah, that doesn't. We can't assign it. Yeah, I don't think that'll work. It's been a while since I made a type from a slice, so I can't remember. So star sp equals append star sp shape. Let's see. Alright, that does work. Whoops. That does work. Thank you, yeah. So then how does this work? Let's see. Sure, I don't have any other, prints in there. Okay, so we have SP, which is... Okay, so it has to be a pointer to it. I guess that means, yeah, because it has to alter the original list. So it has to be a star, it has to be a reference. So then we can't just do that, because the first argument has to be a slice, and this is a pointer to a slice. So doing that dereferences it, but then this can't be put back into this because it's a pointer to a slice. This is not. This is a pointer. This is the original data, I guess? I don't know. That works. Polygon says, I haven't made a game that's out there for people to see. I usually get caught up in making engines from scratch. I'm busy with writing a Vulkan render at the moment. Mariano says, you'll need the same on remove shape. You're right. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this won't work. Let's see. Can I use type? Can I use type slice sp type space? All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Since it works basically a certain way. Space equals sp. Hold space. Invalid indirect of new space type shape. Oh wait, can I just do this? Can I use new space as a pointer? As a pointer to an array of shape? Yeah, pointer to an array of shapes as type space in assignment. Oh. Right, so can I just do like... I feel like I'm right on the right... Oh man, I'm so close. Oh. Oh, I see, okay, I can just do like this. Oh my goodness, okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, dude. This is bananas, but it's working. That's the crazy thing. Lizzie, Polyscone says I can, if I want to replace the old slice, I will need to assign to the deref slice. So I have to do like this. Oh, I see. I could either do that or I could assign it to the pointer. So I could dereference and assign. I prefer to dereference and assign. I'll do it that way. Let's see if that works. Okay. So actually, we don't need to do this debug draw. All right, so we'll try this. Where if I press the jump button, dot space dot remove shape p dot physical. Cool. So it works. So the rect still exists, and he's still able to do stuff though. But it works. I guess maybe a better example, just to make sure this is working correctly. Let's do it something like this. Cannot slice SP. Yeah, I should not do that. Can't dereference it. Can't slice it. But it's okay. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so let's try that. See if I can clear it out that way. It works, dude. It works. Nice. Actually, it's probably easier to just do yellow. That's fine. There we go. It's nice. Kroby says, really cool, Loon, it works. Yeah, thanks. But that was Polyscone helping me out, man. Helped me out a lot. Cool. So it actually works. Pixie perfect. All right. Well, I mean, you can't really ask for anything more than that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that outcome. Kroby says, really cool. If you will install it, I will play it. I try because I know that on PC. Okay, well, yeah, thank you. I imagine you were saying, basically, if I go ahead and like put it out there, if I make it available, then you'll try it. Yeah, I would appreciate any testing for this. I'm gonna definitely open source this physics thing because I feel like that's the hardest part for me when it comes to this kind of stuff. Is physics is like, you know, whenever I start something in like, you know, SDL or RayLib or whatever, it's like, man, how am I gonna do physics? How do I actually get that information into the game and you know, do a physics collision and stuff like that? But it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Oh, whoops, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Mariano. You said, why not star SP equals make space 0. Yeah, I can do that there, and then I can also do that, I imagine, here. Let's see. Oh, no, I can't. Let's see. Non-name SP on left side of... Oh. There we go. There we go, even better. That's fine. Mariano says for the clear function. Oh, yeah. Why don't I just do that? That's true. That's super duper easy. Wow, that's. I was like, yeah, go through and remove all the objects. Just clear it out. That's oh man, that's much better. All right, let's test this out a little bit. We'll do a couple things. One is. We'll try removing the first item. Alright, that worked, I think. Let's try the third item or something. And we'll change this to the A key. And then we'll also try clearing out the things entirely with the B key. Just to make sure that this is working. Cool. Now, I'm basically done, but I think I want to have the ability to make blocks like toggleable, like turn on and turn off. So what we'll do for that is we'll just make a boolean on a rectangle for one. Same on the point, just to keep it up. I guess I could, wait, I guess I could, let me see, how do I want to approach this? The idea is that it shouldn't even be something you can resolve with if it's not actually there. If other isn't. It actually is collidable. Better than on. Okay. Alright, I think we're good. Now how do we turn that on or off? I guess we have to have a setter too. Because that way you can turn a shape off without having to cast it specifically into rectangular point or whatever. Alright, so then if we resolve, if the other object isn't collidable, then turn it off. It's colliding. Oh, whoops. Cool. So I think that should work. Oh no. Shoot, that's right. Mariana Sulor says, what's the key shortcut on VS Code for auto formatted line when you save it on auto formats with Go format, FMT, Go FMT? You should check if the shape itself is collidable besides other. That's true, yeah. Well, not necessarily. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about this, I'd have to make a new function to make a point or whatever, because the default should be collidable on. Do I really want to do that? Because yeah, I guess I do. Because you might want to toggle this, right? And you don't want to have to like deal with tags and stuff. I guess. All right. Alan says, told you I would return. Okay. Welcome back. Okay. Oh, you can't take the address of a... Oh, okay. Jeez. Okay. That's right. Never mind. I'm good. Okay. All right. That's actually a little cleaner because then you don't have to have the awkward thing just sitting there. I guess. All right. What now? What now? What now? Where's the what? Oh, it's missing. Yeah. Player. What is it? Okay. There we go. All right. I think we're good. All right. Cool. So I think this is working. Maybe. Let's see. Now I have to figure out. Does it make sense? Let's see. Wait. Polygone says if you want to cut down and copy and paste in the same default functions around for all strokes that implement the shape interface, you can embed a default struct with the default implementations. That's true. Yeah. Because yeah, set collidable is going to be the same. And is collidable is going to be the same. Get tag is going to be the same. Is 0 is going to be the same. Resolve isn't going to be. It's going to be very similar, but not the same because a P is not a point is not a rectangle. That's basically it. Otherwise, I would, because the variables are all the same and stuff. Is colliding is going to be unique. New point is going to be unique. Yeah, these three can be generalized. Basic. Let's focus. Basic. I was wondering if that worked. Alright, guess not. Alright, let's try that. Hey, it works. Excellent. Cool. We're basically done. That's a much smaller, more compact class. That's great. Alright, so let's actually test this out. So let's say that if I press this, rather than removing the shape, like that, what if I actually just want to toggle the shape? So I should be able to go p.worldspace 3.set collidable p.worldspace 3.get is collidable, but not load. It's not working. Set colon. What? Let's see. Turn b dot is collidable. Oh, yeah. B dot is collidable. B dot. Oh, I see. It doesn't like that. All right. All right. What if we do like? Oops. Yeah. I need to grab the reference of it, but it doesn't like that. Okay. Oh, okay, so I just have to... Wait, what? Cannot use R rectangle as type shape in argument to b dot is colliding. Rectangle does not implement shape. Set collidable method has pointer receiver. Oh. Well, yeah. Polyxon says you just need to make sure you're using a pointer to a struct. Yeah, it is though, right? Set collidable. Let's quietly try that. Still not working. Set collidable on. Do I gotta make everything a pointer? But that won't work, right? Because it's not, you can't just do that. You can't just do that because it's not, yeah, rectangle does not implement shape. But that doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't. That doesn't like that. You can't just do that. Dang. Well, I think because it has to set the value of the struct and write it out. Bond of the Dead says, man, I know you've gone over this language before, but geez, I get what the code's doing, but it's so different from the languages I know. Yeah, it's a simple language. Pointers are like the hardest part. Like that's definitely the hardest part of it because it's just like there's so you really want it to point all the time for game development, just because that means more likely than not, because that just means, you know, an easier time, you know, conserving memory and knowing which objects are which and stuff. But in Go, it's like you have to specifically say that it's a pointer, and then when it's a pointer to something, it's not the same as the thing not having a pointer. So it just is kind of complex. I mean, do I gotta make this a pointer to a bool? That doesn't really make that much sense, though. Doesn't really make much sense. I don't like that at all, man. And I don't think that will work either. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Okay. Alan says, what exactly are you trying to debug or figure out? Basically, I need to make it so that I want to make it so that I can press a key to trigger to change the collidability of a shape. Kroby says, good night, SolarLune in chat. Good night. Thanks for stopping by. Like, if I press A, it should set the, you should see true and false, and then false and true. It should be basically showing me what's the old and the new value for collidability, but it's not working that way. Instead, it's not assigning the value back to the collidable property of the shape, because it's in a struct. Let's see. Policy says, whatever you do, you need to use func b pointer to the basic shape, like that. What I mean is the R a pointer? No, the R is not a. Yeah, the R is not a pointer. Oh. Maybe that's why. Maybe it needs to be a pointer. Let's see if that works. Hey, it works. It finally works. There we go. Now we can actually check that out. It's like, oh, let me resolve that. Let me resolve that. Hey, but that's cool. That's not quite what I would have wanted. I would have wanted basically if it turns on when you're in it, it just lets you fall through. But instead, it's trying to put it back up, which is strange because... Oh no, that's not so strange, I guess. That works. Cool. Whew. Let's see. Okay. Banjo says, what are we working on game-wise? Nothing really. This is mostly physics for future games slash this game. I don't really have too much of an idea of what to do with this game yet. This is something I was working on just to kind of work on the physics side of things, because I don't have any. I don't really know if there's a lot of game physics libraries out there, especially for Go, to basically allow you to go ahead and like just have kind of basic arcade physics, like, oh, is it touching this thing, and if so, collide with it, and not like sink through it or anything like that. Salty says, why is the collision resolved so slowly? Because it's resolved according to the speed that I enter the area at. So like, if I were it basically, it only moves the character according to how fast it's moving. So like, if I'm moving at a rate of, let's say, 4 pixels per frame, then when it tests that and sees that it's a collision, it's going to move it back up until it reaches 4 pixels up at max. It doesn't just pop the character up. So yeah, now I can toggle it to toggle collidability. That's very nice. One way to resolve this probably would be to go ahead and just use a, I'm thinking like if I just use a strip. Yeah, if I just represented these objects as just a vertical strip, I'm sorry, horizontal strip, then if you sink through, you should just keep falling. Like if it's a cloud, essentially. Basically, you should only be able to land on it from directly above it. So like, if your Y is anything, well, let's see that. Yeah, it won't work. I gotta figure out how I want to approach that. It's nice to be able to trigger it on and off, but if it's like a Mega Man situation where it can turn on while you're inside of it, then you can't like have that where it just slides you up. It has to basically act like you're not there. Banjo says, "Are we working in Atom? Nah, we're working in VS Code, Visual Studio Code." Salty says, "That's a cool effect." Yeah, it's kind of cool. Bond says, "One-way platforms have been the death of a lot of projects I've made." Yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to. That's one of the things I was thinking about was like if you try to use a 3D engine, you end up like having to use raycasts and stuff for one-way platforms. Because that's the only way to really check for collisions on a kind of localized environment kind of situation, where you could have something that's solid for one person or object and non-solid for another. So you end up having to make your own physics engine, which is basically what I'm doing here, making an actual physics engine. So like for clouds, it should be as simple as just saying, oh, well, only check for collisions if you're going down. And you know, if it's a cloud, don't ignore it unless you're falling. That's basically all it needs to do. Oh, someone asked, what's the yellow hitbox? Alan asks, what's the yellow hitbox? Basically, the yellow hitbox allows you to go ahead and see this just represents a non-solid area. So if I pull up tiled, this area is in the non-solid group. And so it just basically allows you to see like, oh, that's non-solid. For example, we can go ahead and say fmt.println p.world, or yeah, p.world.space dot is colliding our physics rectangle with non-solid. So we should see true when we walk into this yellow area. There it goes. So this allows you to make zones just by making something that's non-solid and not interacting with it, but still it is a physical object. It's a physical space in our game space. It's a physical area in our game space, and so we can just say like, oh, we just touched this area. So now start scrolling the camera over, you know, automatically, or you know, that's a death zone. If we could, that's a good example. So we could say like, oh yeah, you know, if we touch this area down here, you know, that's death. So if we fall off the map, this will change to true. Boop, right there. So we could say like, oh, this is on a, you know, death area, and so now we know that if we go ahead and fall off the game world, we're gonna die. Oh, well, actually, we have to change this from non-solid to death. There it is. Yeah, so it's that simple. Salty says the strip technique would probably not work because it would detect the collision until you're almost halfway through the block. I might be wrong. Yeah, I gotta not yeah that you're wrong, but basically yeah, I gotta figure out how, like, what's the best way to approach this kind of situation. Basically, we only want to trigger a downward collision if you're at least above the platform. If you're at least one, you have to be this much above the platform. You have to start this much above the platform to have it be a collision. If you're starting from below the platform, it's not a valid collision. So that's that part. It actually shouldn't be too hard to program. Alan says, that reminds me of a common thing that game designers use. That game designers use. I played Hello Neighbor and they made a giant cube surround the house. Then they made a smaller cube to hollow out the bigger cube. This made a hollow invisible cube that if you touch it, triggers a cutscene. I'm not sure why they did it like that instead of just making the big cube, the first big cube that's invisible. What's the need to hollow out the big cube? Anyway, but yeah, that's the idea. Is basically that allows you to see, yeah, just basically if you enter a zone, if you touch something that's, you know, and that's why I kind of like is that it's general. It's very general. It's you know, up to you to determine like how to kind of define this and how to use this. It's not like, oh yeah, this is a physics object, this is a dynamic object, this is a static object, this is a ghost object. No, it's just this is an object. If you want it to feel solid, then have it, you know, have your characters resolve against it, and you can control when that happens and why that happens. Salty says, well, what if you check if the player is moving downwards when colliding? Bond says, I think it was if the platform is under you and you're not inside it, collide. Yeah, I could check to see if you're inside. Maybe. I mean, inside is really, I mean, like that's not valid either. We want it to, you know, like it has to only basically allow you to stand on it if you start from above the platform. If the frame where you're touching it is if the frame where you're touching it, basically in here. In here, in the resolve function, if the frame where you're touching it, you're starting from above the object, then it's not valid to resolve it. That's what it kind of boils down to. Like at that point, it's too late to resolve. You've already passed the point of collision. Oh, Alan says, I'm going to talk with my friend to do pixel art. Bye, I might be back. Oh, I'm going to be done, man. I'm out. I'm basically done. I did a lot of work today, and I'm happy with it. But, yeah, I'm done. We got non-solid stuff. We got the ability to toggle solidity. We got the ability to easily check for collisions and resolve collisions with a single line rather than having to loop through every physics object in our thing and check to, you know, try to resolve against it. This is just a much more easy approach. But yeah, that's not bad at all. Alright, well, oh, that's one last thing I can check. Let's see, Polystone says, for the collision, could you not just check the direction of the movement vector, turning off collisions in case of a one-way platform is only valid if the direction is up after all, isn't it? Oh yeah, I could just, I mean, if it's, but this is not for a one-way platform, this is for a platform that's there until it's not. It's like if in a Mega Man game where like the platform appears periodically, like if the platform appears when you're in it, you don't want it to move you up, you want it to basically act like you didn't jump into it. Like even if it's solid, it should act like this. Until it's solid, then it should just knock me off. But if it's like, you know, if it's non-solid and turns solid, it should never push me up onto the platform. That's a hack. That's a cheat. It should basically act like I didn't jump into it. Not like that. That's bad. For a cloud, yeah, I can just check to see if you're, you know, landing on it from above. It's not too hard. It's not a one-way platform. What we have here is not a one-way platform. This is a timed platform. A one-way platform is a cloud. That's not like in the official language. That's just what, you know, some games, some developers call it, where it's basically non-solid until you jump on it from above. Like a lot of clouds in NES games and just in general in games, you know, a lot of games did that where it was solid when you landed on it, but if you jumped into it from below, it was not. It's a similar concept, but it's a solid object until the time runs out or starts ticking down or whatever. The most difficult part of all Mega Man games, says Bond. Yeah, basically, it's basically that. those platforms, those where they appear on a timer and you jump into it. It shouldn't do that. It should just act like even if it's solid, it should act like it's not solid until it is solid. Then it goes ahead and knocks you down. So either it could play the animation of turning solid, even if you're in there, and then actually only become solid once you're out of the area. That's one option. But that would mean that basically anything that's on it wouldn't really like work that way. Bond says, I think Mega Man 2 would just shove you to the right if you were inside a block. I guess I could do that too. Oh, that's what I wanted to check as well. One last thing. How are we doing on? 1 CPU percentage. 2. Yeah, 1%, 2%. That's not bad. 0%. That ain't bad. 9.3 megabytes. Look at that, dude. Absolutely nothing. Excellent. Tim says, isn't that how zips work, which they abuse for speedruns? Mariano says, I get it now. And Bond says, yeah, the zip. You can skip a lot of the stage with that. Just shove yourself into the ceiling and warp to the end of the stage in an instant. Yeah, so I gotta figure out exactly how I want to approach that kind of situation where it's like you're jumping into it from below, or not jump from below, but from, like you're jumping into something that's becoming solid. I gotta figure out how to deal with that. But that's working. Let's just do one last thing, and that's make it obvious for ourselves if it's valid or not. Cool. So that works really well. Salty says you could check if the player is co-penetrating and then add a variable just for the player to make him act as if it's non-solid. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. I could act like, well, but then what happens like if you have something that turns invisible next to the ground? Then you would turns non-collidable next to the ground. You could be standing on it or standing in the area, it turns solid, and then you just float right through it and the ground below, because you would act like this is non-solid, and that would make you act like, oh, maybe that would work. I don't know. I'd have to test it to see, I guess. Because I'm tired. Bond says debugging blocks and lines are one of my favorite parts of coding. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to debug and get immediate visual feedback while you're like trying to see like how things work and stuff. Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm glad to have gotten this. I might do something about this, because basically there's the tiled map importer I'm using. I actually made a nice little fun, slight minor addition to allow this to read a file as opposed to just reading, making you make the IO reader, like make the file and then read it in. So yeah, that's cool. So I was gonna do some stuff with like tile sets and stuff. I think I might also work on adding a function to make this easier, to basically like give you maybe like maybe X and Y values, these two, because that's nice and easy and something that everybody needs when they're using tile. I don't know. So I'll have to think about it. But yeah, it's been fun. We've made a lot of progress. It's been real. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'm tired, man. I'm really tired. I'm not really tired, but I'm pretty tired. It's been 3.5 hours. And yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with my work here. If you want to go ahead and support, please feel free to go ahead and check the description for Bandcamp, for Itch, for Steam, all that stuff. My SoundCloud, my Twitter, those links are in my YouTube channel at the top. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. It's been fun, it's been real as usual, and it's been interesting to make a game in Golang and SDL and with our own physics ourselves. It's pretty cool. But yeah, this is nice. All right, well, thank you very much for watching. For watching. I've been SolarLune. I'll catch you guys on the flip side, and see you later.